All right, welcome back to CS164. It's great to have you with us again this week. This week, David's away, so he's asked me, Chris Gerber, to come in and introduce our guest speaker. We have Edwin Guarin in from Microsoft. He's a senior academic
developer
evangelist.
Nice.
Senior academic developer evangelist.
That's right. For higher education, New England.
Yes. And he's specifically going to be talking to us about the Windows mobile platform. He's got a few guests with him, so I'll let him continue with his introductions.
Okay, thank you very much, Chris. All right, thanks everyone for joining us today. How many of you were in CS50 this past fall? By chance? Awesome. Were you guys at the hackathon we had at Nerd? Okay, some of you are. So that was me working with David. You guys did an awesome job. So we're really excited today, though, to talk to you about what's going on with Windows Phone, especially with our Nokia partnership, and developing some stuff. So how many of you have done your iPhone and Android apps, app development? Okay, cool. So we're going to walk through some of the steps on what to do today. We're going to talk about XNA game development, sort of what's happening with Nokia, and I want to introduce Dean Andrews from Nokia to talk to you for the first half. Thanks.
Okay, so I am Dean Andrews from Nokia. I do business development, particularly regarding apps for the Windows Marketplace ecosystem, and particularly focused in on the United States. I stole these slides from an recent event we did at Mobile World Congress, so I wanted to make sure I had the bibliography correct here coming to Harvard. Okay, so we've heard about the iOS and Android. How many of you have ever laid hands on a Windows phone? Okay. How many of you have ever touched a Nokia Windows phone? Oh, 2, maybe 3? All right. Well, hopefully by the end of this lecture today, you're going to stop this nonsense on iOS and start developing on Windows Phone. All right. Now, I think you're probably all a little young to remember this, but actually Nokia at one point in the early 2000s had 40% market share in terms of phones in the United States. Now, I doubt that many of you have ever owned a Nokia phone. Is there anyone here that has owned a Nokia phone? Oh, well, actually a small handful. Probably your ancestors, maybe parents or grandparents owned Nokia phones. Nonetheless, the company made some missteps in the early 2000s, and we had some very smart companies, namely Apple and Google, come into our domain and kick us in the head. In the United States in particular, not so much globally, but definitely in the United States. But Nokia is not filled with dummies, and we didn't lay down and die. And what we did in the last few years is to plot our comeback, particularly into the United States, and it's now well underway. And if I had to sum up our strategy in just 2 phrases, it would be these: that Nokia plans to regain our smartphone market share in a partnership that we have with Microsoft regarding Windows Phone. And then we also, with our other platforms, which are still alive and well and still a dominant force globally, we plan to connect the next billion customers that are alive and well around the world but unable to afford the expensive smartphones that are sold in the United States. These are 2 of our Nokia Windows Phone products. The 2 that are missing are the Lumia 800 device, which I have right here. I'll show you in a minute. And also the Lumia 710, which is currently available on the T-Mobile market. A couple of quick facts. One thing that's interesting about all of these products is that we began this partnership between Nokia and Microsoft, we announced it in February of 2011. And in a little over a year, we have produced 4 different smartphones using this operating system. And I do urge you to at least check one out in a store because they are quite remarkable. The Lumia 900 device you see there is the first Windows phone that is 4G LTE on the AT&T network. The Lumia 610 and the Lumia 800 here are not currently available in the United States. They were not designed for the US market. They were designed to take advantage of the global market, and you'll see some information about that in a minute. These are 10 of the 13 awards that we've won on the Nokia Lumia 900 since we announced it. And many of these were before the phone was actually available to the public. We announced the phone at the Consumer Electronics Show in January of this year in Las Vegas. And it's been quite remarkable, the reaction to the phone since then. I know it's sometimes hard to imagine with the dominance of iOS and in Android, but again, we've been at this game, Nokia's been at this game quite a long time, and I would throw down our hardware against any competitor in the world. We are quite good at design, manufacturing, and we know a ton about mobile telephony. We have more mobile technology patents than any company in the world. And we've leveraged many of them to create these remarkable products. We have a very interesting app strategy. I've been in high tech for a long time. I've been in mobile for years. And I find this strategy and this partnership with Microsoft quite remarkable. There are a lot of smart people in both companies working on this, two underdogs, if you will, even though we're both giant corporations. They're two underdogs in this domain, in this market. And it is a multifaceted strategy. This slide is just saying something about our app strategy. Again, we are working hard to kickstart the Windows Marketplace ecosystem. Again, it's an underdog if you compare it to the other two. I believe the latest figures are that it has 80,000 applications in the Windows Marketplace compared to 750,000 in iOS and 350, 400 in Android. However, you'll see some interesting stats later about how quickly it's growing. These partners here have done something interesting with us, and again, you know, we're thinking this through. We do have some exclusive applications on Nokia's Windows phones in order to kind of draw attention to them. So we have partnered with these major partners, and each of these businesses is doing something on their Nokia Windows Phone applications, their features, for example, or assets that are not on iOS or Android, their apps on those platforms. And they'll be for a limited time only on Nokia Windows phones, and then when the time window is finished, they'll be available on all Windows phones. Again, about the kind of multifaceted elements, we are embracing companies directly, and we're also using both mainstream and social media to get the word out. We've done some interesting partnerships with Red Bull and some of the interesting in-person competitions they do around the world. We also, I don't know if any of you know this, but 2 Fridays ago, we hijacked Times Square in the United States, here in New York, and we filled it to capacity, stopped traffic, and Nicki Minaj performed a concert in conjunction with us in Times Square. And the interesting thing about this is that, again, every detail is thought through. The reason that we partnered with Nicki Minaj is that she is the 11th most followed person on Twitter in the world. She has over 11 million followers. And attending the concert, we invited some of the most followed bloggers and tweeters in the world to watch the show from Times Square. And all of this is working quite effectively. We basically, while we launched the Lumia 710 at T-Mobile just a few months back, and the Lumia 900 is only available as about a week or so from AT&T. The traction's been quite amazing. There are now 3 industry analysts that say that the Windows Phone ecosystem will be number 2 in the world by 2015. That's not Nokia or Microsoft talking. Those are independent mobile industry analysts that say that.